the way the dealers are, they just don't want to fix stuff like this. And now I shouldn't pop off my face, hopefully. Welcome back to another video, guys. Today I've got a bit of a different one. My dad's Mercedes is giving some issues where it just doesn't want to start. There's no power, nothing. So let me show you guys what I'm currently busy with, or what I'm attempting to do. Basically, the car doesn't want to start if you put the key in. It doesn't want to show anything. It doesn't make that like zzz noise that it usually does, where this little actuator pulls out the steering column so your wheel can actually unlock. But as you can hear, the wheel is in the lock position where it failed. So that's a problem. You can't get the nut, well, you can get the nut off from the back, but you can't get the unit out because it's got like a sliding bolt that nut goes onto, so that you can pop that that bolt in and then slide the unit out. Well, I can't do that at the moment. I've already taken this bottom cover off, taken the latch off, the little light and the OBD2 socket to get this panel off and out my way. But I have to take the whole steering column out now, and it's a bigger mission than you'd think. It already sounds like a massive deal, but yeah, this is gonna be fun. And I've never done this before, so let's learn something new, I guess. Trying not to let you guys fall and trying to kind of balance it over there. So I've been using this little tool I made myself because I'm too cheap to buy the actual thing. And it works wonders, like it really does. So what I did, you need a Torx 30 but to open up at the back to get the whole airbag off. Well, you have to disconnect your battery first. Never forget to disconnect your battery. Anyway, Torx T30 with a little magnet snap-on tool, and then this magnet snap-on tool, just what I'm calling it. I chamfered every side of this hexagon shape off, just so I can get it to a 6mm socket size, and then you can just actually pop it in there and use your little ratchet, and it works wonders. It really does. You don't have a lot of space, you can just pop it in there and then good to go. Now I've got both screws off at the back, loosened, and now I shouldn't pop off my face, hopefully. Oh no, this is actually a two-handed job. Okay, there's little pluggies at the back. Just pop those off. Now how do these little clips come off? Get my little screwdriver. But oh no, I might need both hands for this. Or do I? Do I? Yes, I do. There we go. So airbag's off, put it to one side where it's safe, and then I believe this is a 10mm Allen key. It definitely is a 10mm. I don't have a socket, so I'm just going to put some leverage on this and hopefully I get it loose. Let's put that on like that and then try and loosen it up. Okay, so this is where I'm at. The steering wheel's off, the boot around the steering wheel's off, the trim around the gauges are off. The piece around the shaft came off. That was easy, just slid off. Just disconnected all the little cables, and then let's see if I can switch the light on. This holds the steering shaft in, so it just basically add this little T45 Torx bit in there. You just screw that back just so you know where it goes, and then that just clamps the steering shaft in. So it's splined. So these bolts I took out from the bottom, and I just leave them in place. So I know where each one goes. They are shorter ones and the longer ones, so just take note of that. They just bolt straight to this there, and there's one somewhere over here, somewhere, don't know where, somewhere over there at the top, and there's also one. Anyway, it's not too difficult to take off. All you need is this, what they call E12 socket. It's just a reverse of a Torx, but you can see there. So let me show you guys what I'm doing right now with the little steering shaft. Mazda. So I drilled a hole in this little stepper motor. So this is this whole assembly that came out. I did make a mark here, so when I've loosened the motor off that, I know exactly where it should sit. I don't know if that's important or not, just be safe rather. So I made a little hole right there, and there's this gear that spins around, and basically that's what loosens this steering shaft up, if you can get that reverse. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick at it, open it up a bit, and then I can take this off, push that bolt through, and then take this unit out. Then I'm going to strip this whole thing, replace the motor inside, should be right there somewhere, and then repeat the whole process in reverse. Okay, so I haven't updated you guys in a while. Basically what happened was I had to cut this bolt off that was on there with a nut on, because when people tell you that you can spin this gear and it will turn this, they're talking shit. Anyway, so I had to basically cut that nut off. I'm in the bolt, and then there's these little spring pins on all 4 corners that you just have to drill out, and you don't necessarily have to worry that you're going to hit the board because it's not close to it. If this one, maybe just don't have to go too deep, just enough to get that little housing off. There's no sliding of the housing, it just pops off straight. So drill bit by bit and you should be fine. So I've got the new motor in. There's this little black clip over here, and this thing spins over there. In any case, this motor did definitely burn out. This doesn't look fresh at all, and also blacked out the PC board right there. I tried to clean it as much as I could, just leaving that to one side. And now what I'm basically doing, because I had to cut this off, which slides in and out on this, I'm now going to basically cut this new bolt to shape. But yeah, that slot's going to be there. I'm just going to cut it with this little die grinder. And alright, so just to show you guys what exactly I did, just put this down. So this bolt, it's not obviously too long, I'm just going to shorten that. That's right in there. So I shaped that out just so it can have like a little slot, and right up and down this, just to install it. So as you can see, you can't push it out, oops, unless you do that. So this little plastic piece, we'll put that to one side, this, see how that goes on with that, and then all the way back, and you can see it exposes the bolt, so that can come out. So it slots in that piece right there, pops in that hole there, and then rides in this groove over here. So it's kind of a double act type of thing. Just see if it's free now. It's going the right way. Yes, it is. Okay, so that bolt can now come out. This goes all the way to the back. Now you can see how this bolt just pops out. So I'm just going to shorten this. I had to make it a bit flatter so that lock can slide over it, just like the old one used to be. This I just like domed inwards for that spring to sit in. Right, so assembling this has a trick to it. So this board has limit switches on it, over there and over there. The rearmost one pushes on this. I don't know what the purpose of this plastic thing was, but that's why. And then there's this little piece that also touches. So you can see they both move forward and backwards depending on the position. So they've got 2 points of reference. Now you can't have them all the way back so that you can install this thing and push this bolt back in order to get it in the slot and pushed in through there. So what you're gonna have to do is you wind it back a little bit, and then that pushes away. Hello, Layla. Hello. Huh? Huh? Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? You. You. Such a friendly guest. Anyway, where were we? Okay, so which way am I pushing this? So this you're going to have to position. You turn it back a bit so that this one's moved out the way. You can see it only rides in the V in this little plastic part. And then when you push it all the way out, you can see that part starts to go over the bolt. Now you want to push that out the way because you can still press this inwards in order to get that bolt back. So that's the position you want it in. Now you can see those little pins are pushed into the motor. There's a little black clip. It is slotted into the teeth, the worm gear. And there's your 2 little limit switches. You can see there's a gap between the 2, plastic bit at the back and the little aluminium part in the front, in the middle. So that's perfect. And then you can still push this back to get your bolt up into the casing of the unit when you're installing it back into the frame of the excuse the dirty garage, the messy garage. Alright guys, so what I've done now was okay, I drilled holes straight through these little tabs where the split pins were inserted. The holes are smaller than the split pins, so I'm gonna screw some screws in there. Alright, so I have the steering column back in just with 2 little bolts, and then I pop this steering rack in. You can actually slide it forward and backwards, and then I've just put this bolt back in there. What's important to note is the spline shaft that goes in this little aluminium piece. Aluminium does not hold up to abuse, so just be careful with the splines. And I've made markings so I know where the shaft should be in relation to the actual housing of this unit, because it has 3 different widths slots in this that it has to match up with on the actual steering column. I struggled my arse off trying to get this in, and then realized, well, I made a mistake and I had to go back and redo everything. Now I have torqued down the shaft, that bolt on the U-joint. Basically all I need to do is put this trim piece around the cage cluster that just pops in straight. Let's see if I can do that one. Try not to screw up the over there. Should just pop in there. Nice. Then this little pluggy I'm gonna attach back here on this shift, like what do you call it? Indicator slash thingy. Anyway, there's that little pluggy. It just pops in that little one right there, and then this plastic piece that probably pops in there. And then just to line everything up, and steering wheel back and the airbag, and that should be done. We can finally see if the car starts. If it doesn't, well, it might be nothing. Alright, so I torqued everything down. Covers back on. Neck around it on. Nice and tight. Needy? Neat and tidy. Needy. I'm needy. Anyway, so now I just have to put this back on. Plug these back in. Hopefully this thing doesn't pop. It shouldn't. Thanks, prayer. Say thank you that it didn't pop. Now I'm just going to tighten all these screws back on and then see if it starts.
You were a little broad.